protecting reproductive rights in Minnesota. We do state legislative advocacy, we do electoral work, and we do events like this. We're really excited to have you here. I want to briefly introduce one of our co-hosts for the event, Beth Gendler from the National Council of Jewish Women. Say
Thanks so much for being here. So yes, I'm with National Council of Jewish Women. We've been working in Minnesota and across the country for 125 years on social justice policy advocacy, direct service, and leadership development. We also have a new-ish coalition that we're building called Courts Matter Minnesota, which NARAL is a part. I encourage you all to follow us on social media and get involved. Yes, the Supreme Court nomination is crucially important, but so are lower federal court nominations. We've all got to pay really close attention to that. The current administration has been unprecedented in its success of getting lifetime judicial appointments through the Senate, and we've got to make it stop, or at least slow down. So thanks so much for being here. Go fair.
Thanks, Beth. So let's talk about what the stakes are with the Judge Kavanaugh nomination. We knew before Judge Kavanaugh was even nominated by Donald Trump what kind of Supreme Court nominee he would pick, because he told us. He told us that he was going to appoint a Supreme Court nominee that would roll back Roe versus Wade. He was explicit about it. He told us that he would nominate a Supreme Court justice who would criminalize abortion and create some kind of penalty for women. He said that. We knew what to expect out of the Supreme Court nomination, and here we are with somebody who has a history of restricting access to abortion throughout his time on the lower courts, who has a history of denying immigrant women the opportunity to have abortion, who has a history of saying that Justice Rehnquist's dissent in Roe v. Wade was the correct decision. So we know what's going to happen if Judge Kavanaugh ends up on the Supreme Court. He's going to take the opportunity to either overturn Roe v. Wade or totally gut it. And that's what we've seen happen in other states. We've seen state legislatures push as far as they possibly can to restrict and undermine abortion rights in their state legislatures. We've seen them pass laws that close clinics. We've seen them pass laws that create unnecessary regulations for providers. We've seen them create laws that restrict abortion to a point where most women don't even know they're pregnant yet. And this is happening in states all around Minnesota. North Dakota and South Dakota, Wisconsin, Iowa, these are states that have rolled back abortion rights to the point where those patients now have to come to Minnesota if they're seeking abortion care because of restrictive waiting periods, like rules that say you have to wait 72 hours, not including weekends and holidays, to seek abortion care, like rules that say that clinics have to meet certain building requirements, rules that say you have to have an ultrasound before you can seek abortion care. Those are the kind of things that are happening in states neighboring Minnesota. And we also know that in 3 of our neighboring states, the Dakotas and Wisconsin, if Roe is overturned, abortion will be immediately banned in those states. And what does that mean? That means that Minnesota becomes the safe haven for abortion care in the upper Midwest. And it makes the stakes even higher here. A place where for the past 2 decades, anti-abortion legislators have worked to restrict access here. And we have had a governor who has vetoed that legislation, but we've seen all kinds of bills that would shut down clinics. Does anybody know how many abortion clinics we have left in Minnesota? 5. Only 5 clinics, 4 here in the Twin Cities and 1 in Duluth. So if you are a poor person from Thief River Falls, from Wilmer, if you have to wait 24 hours before you can actually seek abortion care, it's pretty darn hard. So we want to make sure to preserve access here, and that's why the Supreme Court nomination matters here in Minnesota. So thank you for being here. We know there's a lot more at stake. I know some of you here brought your own materials about what's at stake with the Supreme Court nomination. Environmental rights, civil rights, the campaign finance reform, corporate interference, corporate interference, right, immigrant rights. There's so much at stake with this nomination. So thank you for being here. It's now my pleasure to introduce Liz Winstead. Some of you